Yo, what's up guys, hope you guys are doing good. So today we are gonna see, what if Naruto becomes the Anbu captain and got harem, part 1. So before we start, go check out the author of this fanfic TokehGecko, link is in the description, and also subscribe to our channel, and like this video. So let's get into the video. Good morning Captain. Good morning Captain. Captain, good morning. Enthusiasm created by his very presence, something he would never get used to. He just shrugged and grunted a good morning back to several Anbu members on his way to the Hokage Tower. Many of the Anbu didn't even know who he really was, anyway. The only ones knowing his real identity were the Hokage, Jiraiya, Shizune, Aburame Shino, Inyazuka Kiba, and all of the Hyugas. All of the Aburames and Inyazukas would too, because of their enhanced senses, if it wasn't for the captain's skill to cancel out his own smell and chakra presence. He never took his mask off, not even when he was asleep. It's not that anyone dared to intrude into his home because of the many traps all around it. He wasn't an Anbu captain for nothing. Good morning Captain. The Hokage greeted as he walked into the office. Tsunade had just woken in. I've let you come here to inform you of the number of missions you've accomplished. From Gen until now. The captain nodded his head. Tsunade smiled. You can remove the mask at the end of your mission, then your days of being Anbu captain are over, Uzumaki Naruto. The captain snorted. I know of my total number of missions, Hokage-Sama. I also know you've made it a possibility for Anbu captain, even members, to become Jounin after a certain amount, but I don't want to be a Jounin yet. Tsunade frowned. Why not? I thought you'd be more enthusiastic about this. Naruto shrugged. I enjoy being an Anbu captain. I enjoy being unknown to almost everyone in this village. Perhaps it's best if I stay an Anbu captain. He suggested. Besides, being a Jounin is no fun. He let out with a very short chuckle. I sure as hell ain't gonna babysit some Genins. And he wanted to be so bad a few years ago. Tsunade shook her head with a small grin on her still young face. Unfortunately, there will be a day where you will have to become a Jounin, Naruto. Then I'll just be captain until that time really comes, eh? He replied with a toothy grin. Truth was, Naruto really liked being Anbu captain, a well-respected one at that. That day will be here faster than you can imagine. Tsunade said as she threw a scroll at Naruto, who easily caught it. But as you wish, until then, you will remain Anbu captain. But there's one thing you might want to know. Oh? Naruto said, and Tsunade could actually feel an eyebrow rising behind Naruto's mask. There will be new Anbu members this month, Tsunade said. They will be divided under the best Anbu captains. Naruto nodded his head. I still got all my subordinates, Hokage-Sama. None of them died. Did Aburame lose some by any chance? He asked, but he already knew the answer. Tsunade shook her head. No, it's time to promote some of your subordinates and some of theirs to Anbu captains, as well. Maybe a few to Jounin. Naruto snorted. So, you're taking Inyazuka from me, huh? Tsunade grinned at the mask before her. Not only Kiba, I think your entire team will have a new rank or will be doing missions with other Jounins. Naruto sighed, annoyed, dancing through his mask. So, who'll be joining the Anbu ranks? I was hoping you'd take the offer of becoming a Jounin, then you wouldn't have to worry about any of this. Tsunade stated. But, as it is now, you'll have to work with at least one of the next shinobis. Naruto folded his arms, trying to ignore his own impatience. Hyuga Hanabi, Sarutobi Konohamaru, Jeku Yuden, Ami, Fuki. Naruto's eyes widened. Ami and Fuki. They were in my class along with Sasuke and Sakura. Damn, they were the female bullies of the class. Tsunade glared at Naruto for interrupting her, earning an apologizing cough. Hijiri Tsuman, Inaho, Kamizuki Izumo, Hagin Katetsu. Ha! Those two lazy bastards finally decided to join our ranks, huh? Naruto interrupted once more. What about Iwashi? I'm still reading the list, Naruto. Tsunade warned, a vein appearing on her forehead. Naruto sighed and shrugged. Aburame Minoji and Tatami Iwashi. Obviously, there are a lot more, but I don't have the patience to read the whole list to you. Also, a few Jounins wanted to become Anbu again, so our Anbu section is expanding this season. Be ready for some competition, elite captain. Tsunade grinned cheekily. As if anyone can be more competent than I. He let out cockily. My leader skills are absolute, my motivation for cooperation is never ending, my. Naruto. Tsunade interrupted. I would love to listen to your bragging, but would you just open that scroll in your hands already? Naruto didn't respond and just opened the scroll. Sheesh, and you wanted this to be my last mission. How boring. He commented after reading it. Tsunade glared. Well, I'm just gonna do this mission with only Kiba, I think. Naruto said as he eyed the scroll. This seems too easy. Tsunade's glare grew in its viciousness. I mean, how hard can it be hunting down Yakushi Kabuto and Orochimaru? He said with a massive grin. Walking the road. Prologue. Tsunade was signing mission reports that had come in yesterday as Shizune came in. Tsunade-sama, about 20 missions have already been accomplished today. She announced as she put down another pile of papers on her desk, which was already pretty full. Tsunade rolled her eyes. Heard anything about the S-rank mission I released, Shizune? Shizune shook her head and turned around. She was about to walk out again. Who did you give the mission to, Tsunade-sama? She asked. I mean, it's Orochimaru who's being hunted on. Tsunade shot her an amused gaze. I've sent our best Anbu squad, of course. Shizune grinned. Heh, I think the rumors have spread through to every country by now, Tsunade-sama. Tsunade nodded. Yeah, the yellow flash has returned, they say. Now that Kyuubi is gone, Shizune has begun. You'd think Naruto-kun would be less powerful, but it's quite the opposite. Tsunade ended. The process of the chakra bonding thanks to the seal of the fourth made part of Kyuubi's chakra permanently accessible to Naruto, even with the Bijuu extracted. Naruto has an enormous chakra capacity, even without the Kyuubi, we can conclude now. But now that we've found out that Kyuubi left Naruto a lot of chakra, the two chakra sources just fused together, giving him more than twice as many. And without the Kyuubi inside of him, Naruto-kun's chakra control is abnormally high. Shizune said. Konoha truly breeds monsters. No one can sense Kyuubi's or Naruto's chakra, as it has now become a completely different chakra altogether, so no one can guess it's Naruto hiding behind that mask, Tsunade mused. Well, let's get back to work. Naruto's team probably won't finish this mission. Orochimaru was spotted close to the grass country, but that hiding place is probably already destroyed by now. Orochimaru must be pretty far away from grass by now. He's long gone. Kiba nodded his head, his dog mask moving up and down once. I can still smell him, though. Naruto shrugged. His smell usually lingers for about a week. But there's another familiar smell. Yeah, Yakushi Kabuto, Kiba added. There were 4 people in total here. But now that you mention it. Yes, there seems to be another familiar smell, Naruto stated. Part of the team was going through burned wood and debris in a cave, and the other part was outside, searching for anything that might help them in their search for the snake Sannin. What do you think, Captain? Kiba asked as he helped a few Anbu lift up a huge boulder. Naruto walked over to a few burned papers and tried to read what was left of them. Nothing. We returned to Leaf. The snake coward has run away again. Kiba nodded his head. We've found nothing. Boy, Shinji. Naruto called out softly as he walked to the opening of the cave. Did you find anything outside? Shinji, a guy slightly smaller than Naruto, appeared before him. Signs of a fight just half a mile away from here. Naruto nodded his head. Fire techniques. At least a few. From behind Shinji's mask, one could see black hair. More water techniques, actually. A lot of trees are affected by poison too. I see. Naruto sighed. Make a report on the battlefield. Let Shigeru and Satsuko scan further ahead. Kiba, Miku and Kasumi will scan the cave. I will see if I can still find the ones who battled where you said. Shinji nodded as the duo disappeared and reappeared on a big battlefield. I think this was a fun fight. Naruto commented as he took a look at his surroundings. Definitely Orochimaru to think he would use Manda. Big parts were scraped away and one could easily conclude a summon or summons were used during the fight. Naruto narrowed his eyes to see which way the shinobis went after the fight. Both survived and Shinji let out suddenly. I'm sorry, I forgot to mention that I didn't find any corpses. Doesn't matter. Naruto replied as he waved an arm. Good luck on your report, Shinji. I'm off, I'll try and track the ones down who fought here. Shinji saw how Naruto left him at an amazing speed. Damn, I still wonder who our captain really is. As Naruto's Anbu squad returned to Leaf, they received the same welcome they always received, a welcome full of respect. But only by other Anbus, of course, since they were the only ones actually seeing them return. They hadn't encountered anyone. Naruto had chased after a few tracks left behind by shinobis, but the battle was at least 2 days old, so it was no use going after either shinobi. And maybe there were more than 2. Safety first, after all. Captain. Tsunade greeted, while Naruto greeted her back with a formal bow. I have some interesting news for you. The captain just stared at the Hokage. You're not interested in the mission report? Tsunade smiled. I'm sure you know of the fact that Uchiha Sasuke ran away from Orochimaru several years ago. As Naruto nodded, Tsunade continued. Well, I'm also sure you've seen scars on the land of the fight close to where we've sent your team to. Naruto nodded. Uchiha Sasuke has engaged Orochimaru and Yakushi Kabuto to a fight near grass country. Alongside Uchiha Sasuke was a female, also fighting against Orochimaru and Kabuto. Tsunade stared intently at the Anbu's mask. Yesterday, Uchiha Sasuke returned with this female friend, a former Sound Jounin. They have sworn allegiance to Konoha. They're now both under treatment of the highest team of torture and interrogation. Naruto nodded. Ibiki must be having fun, then. You don't seem to be happy. The Hokage commented. I don't really care about what happens to the Uchiha. Even if he's stationed in my Anbu team in a few months, it still wouldn't make a difference. I won't reveal my identity. Naruto began. I am sure you'll allow that Uchiha traitor back in the village. Tsunade shrugged. Under heavy surveillance for the first year, perhaps. A year later. Well, what do you say? Ami, a girl who he would definitely recognize as a bully several years ago, had now become a very good friend of his. He acted as if it didn't matter that the girl didn't know who he really was behind the mask. Back at the Ninja Academy, Ami used to bully Sakura because of her huge forehead. Naruto was amazed at how beautiful Ami had become. His new team consisted of Ami, Hagane Katetsu, Iwashi Tatami, Kamizuki Izumo, and Tobitake Tombo. Naruto sighed as he had already dismissed his team and was on his way back home. Ami lived close to him, and Naruto had remembered before she had become a member of his team that Ami didn't have any parents either. I don't know. I like where I am right now. No one knows who I am, and still people recognize me and respect me almost as much as the Hokage. Ami snorted. PFF, as if you're as respected as the fifth. She took her mask off to reveal long blue hair and beautiful brown eyes. Anyway, don't you think it's about time you show your subordinates who you really are? Naruto shook his head. Haven't done so in years, won't do it now. My previous subordinates didn't know who I was either, except for a single one. But he was very trustworthy. He's a respected Jounin now. The only one I know who worked under you and has become a Jounin is Inyazuka Kiba. Ami grinned. Perhaps I should ask him. I'm probably able to beat him to a pulp. Naruto snorted. You? PFF, the only thing you are is a Mitarashi Anko wannabe. Hey, I resent that. Ami yelled as she hit Naruto on the top of the head. Hey Captain. Your hair color, this is fake, right? She asked as she ran her hand through his brown hair from behind. To think you'd go as far as to use such a solid genjutsu to keep your identity secret. Naruto shrugged. It also helps that I have to keep it up every day, all day. My chakra stamina can't be beaten as it's getting bigger and bigger. Ami pondered as she put a finger under her chin. You know, you'd be even more powerful if you just revealed who you are, wouldn't you? Naruto nodded. Yup. Imagine that, my entire team is unable to even lay a finger on me and I'm still not fighting at my best. Shut up. Ami said, dignified. Anyway, why not turn to Jounin? A guy like you would probably become Hokage in no time. Naruto fell silent at that one. Becoming Hokage was once my dream, you know. Ami fell silent as well. The captain never talked about himself. The reason they were having this conversation was because Ami had accepted a promotion a few days ago. The Hokage told her she has done enough missions to become a Jounin. The silence didn't last long, though. You? Become Hokage. I was just kidding that you'd be able to become one in no time. She burst out laughing. As if you could ever become so responsible. Naruto silenced her by tripping her to the ground. You know I'm the most responsible, why are you mocking me? Ami glared at him for letting her fall. You know I'm kidding, Captain, why trip me? Naruto shrugged. To become Hokage, he mused. Superficial people don't deserve a leader like me. He declared. Ami coughed wildly, trying to hold in her laughter. Don't deserve a leader like you. Don't act so high and mighty. Naruto sighed. Well, you're home. Report 6 in the morning tomorrow for debriefing. I have important news. With that, Naruto left. Ami shrugged, used to him leaving so abruptly, and stepped into her home. Tsunade was not one to get enthusiastic, but even she had trouble concealing her joy as she stared at the man in front of her. So, you're finally taking the mask off? Naruto nodded, but didn't pull the mask off just yet. If I become a Jounin, what will change? Your payment, for starters. As it is now, Konoha has become even more powerful than before. You'll become a Jounin team. Behind the mask, an eyebrow rose. Jounin team? I didn't even know those existed. That's because at first they didn't. But next to Anbu, I also want Jounin teams in this village. For security and S-rank missions which should actually be higher than S. Tsunade explained. You've become a force to be reckoned with, rookie Jounin, Uzumaki Naruto. You know, you're one of the last of the genin group you were part of to become Jounin. But you're probably stronger than all of them. Naruto shrugged, not really caring. Another rookie Jounin, Hyuga Hanabi, will be your subordinate. Subordinate? Naruto asked. What do you mean? Am I going to be some kind of captain again? Tsunade grinned. Yes, these Jounin teams are very secretive, Naruto. Most Jounins don't even know of their existence, but yes, you'll become a Jounin captain. Never heard of that rank before. Naruto frowned. Your team will consist of a captain and 4 subordinates. Hyuga Hanabi, Yamanaka Ino, Ami, and Mitarashi Anko. Naruto held in a gasp, a mighty big one at that, to what? 4 women. And why the hell is Mitarashi Anko a subordinate of mine? Tsunade tried to punch Naruto to silence him, but Naruto seemed to become 2 as Tsunade's fist went through Naruto's face. You're lucky you're so fast, Naruto, she warned. Now be quiet. Naruto glared at her through his mask. Mitarashi Anko wanted to become part of a Jounin team as well. Unfortunately, there aren't many Jounins who can overpower her. You're one among few who can probably restrain her. Naruto sighed. What about the other 3 women? Why do I only have women in my team? Tsunade grinned. What, you can't handle women, little Naruto-kun? Naruto ignored her. Anyway, to more important matters. Tsunade started but was interrupted. You didn't answer the question, Hokage-sama, Naruto said. I don't have to. Tsunade replied with a grin. Okay, who's going to be the next captain of your team? Naruto snorted. Iwashi Tatami. Who's gonna replace me and Ami on the team? Sarutobi Konohamaru and the other one I'm not sure about yet. Tsunade answered. Now, are you gonna dispel your genjutsu and pull the mask off? Naruto sighed. You're the first in 3 years who's going to see my face, you know. He said as he did a single hand seal. Tsunade looked intrigued as Naruto's blonde hair appeared behind the mask. Naruto then pulled the mask off and revealed to Tsunade he didn't have any whisker marks on his cheeks anymore. His eyes had become a bit narrower than before, making him look a bit like Yondaime. But Naruto's eyes were still bigger as Tsunade looked at the picture of Yondaime on the wall. And no longer was there the childish look Naruto always had. Now he was more mature and the look in his eyes carried experience, harshness, sadness, and curiosity. Well, how do I look? Naruto asked. Can I cross a street with a face like this? He asked as he put his hands on his face. Naruto, I don't think you realize how handsome you are. Naruto frowned. You're too old for me, Hokage-sama. Tsunade again lashed out with her fist but missed again as Naruto moved at high speed. Catch this. Tsunade said as she grabbed a Jounin uniform and threw it at Naruto. A Jounin captain. Naruto whispered. I hope I'm not going to regret this decision. He said as he stared at the Jounin vest in his hands. Naruto landed in a clearing and saw his subordinates waiting for him. Okay, listen up. I've got important news. He announced as everyone gathered around him. Why did we have to come this early, Captain? Ami whined. Obviously, a mission. Kotetsu pointed out. Our last mission. Naruto said, silencing everyone. Last? Iwashi asked. Suicidal mission again. He whined. You always scare us like that. No, starting next week, actually when we get back from this mission, I'm Jounin. Active? Tombo asked. His eyes were covered by bandages and over the bandages he wore his headband. Kinda. Naruto said. Anyway, Iwashi will be captain and Sarutobi Konohamaru will join the team. I don't know who the last one who will join the team will be. Man, we were such a kick-ass team, Izumo said. With you as our captain and we as your subordinates we really were invincible, eh? Ami nodded her head. Even elite Jounins would get their ass handed to them. Naruto then did something which froze them all. Captain. He was pulling his mask off. Everyone was cautiously gazing at him. Naruto pulled the mask off and grinned at his team. Nice to meet you all. Kotetsu and Izumo both pointed. Ami's eyes were slightly widened. You do look familiar, Captain. She said, and hot, too, she added, as an afterthought. Iwashi didn't know what to say. Ah. The name's Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto wore a small grin as he stared at his subordinates. What's wrong? Hagane Kotetsu smiled. Uzumaki Naruto. I remember you. You beat Hyuga Niji in the Chunin exam years ago, right? Naruto nodded and folded his arms. Heh, that was so long ago. I'm surprised you remembered it. Ami's eyes were still widened. You're dead last. Naruto frowned at the blue-haired girl with Tombo and Iwashi standing next to her. I resent that, he mumbled. But at least you remember me somewhat. He was dead last and no one liked him yet, he's become this powerful. I remember Uchiha Sasuke being the best in class at that time, but now Naruto can probably kick his ass using only his right arm. Ami figured as she stared at the blonde shinobi. You'll be my subordinate, Ami. I'll be your captain again. Naruto grinned. But I know of at least one other in the team who you're not gonna like. Ami tried to frown, still amazed that this guy was her captain. Oi, Uzumaki Taichu, what's the mission gonna be? Iwashi asked, trying very hard not to let him notice he was surprised it was Naruto who was the captain. Ah, as always, you're so serious, Iwashi-san. Naruto whined. Well, it's just another normal patrol mission. It'll last for at least 2 days, though since Hokage-sama is expecting trouble near the borders. But the mission will start tonight, so we can train now. He chuckled as he put his mask back on. Hey, Taichu? Ami asked. If you're going to be a Jounin captain, why not wear a mask during missions then, too? Naruto froze. Ah, I didn't really ask if that was permitted. He scratched his head. I'll ask Hokage-sama. You guys start training. Beat each other up and all that, okay? With that, Naruto vanished. Man, it's always the same with that guy, Azuma mumbled as he grabbed an Anbu sword and pointed it at Tonbo. Tonbo grinned and shook his head while also grabbing the Anbu sword off his back. Ami sighed. Another boring sword battle. She turned to Katetsu and Iwashi. Well, I suggested you and Katetsu go against you, Iwashi. Only ninjutsu and jinjutsu. Iwashi snorted. You two are against me, huh? Very well. Walking the road. Chapter 1. Acquaintances. No. Tsunade said. There's a difference between an Anbu team and a Jounin team, Naruto. Besides, you get to become pretty well known thanks to being the Jounin captain of this Jounin team. I don't want to be well known, Hokage-sama. Naruto said, still with his mask on. I like this mask. Tsunade eyed the black mask with many white and few red stripes dancing across it. It was a fox mask, his own choice. Naruto was the first of all the Anbu to wear a black mask. Aburame Shino also wore a black one. There were a few other captains who wore a black one. You know what? You're the captain, you decide how your team acts. I don't really care if you wear a mask or not. But if it causes conflicts in the team, I want the mask gone, got it? Naruto grinned widely. Yup. He then put a finger to his chin. Maybe I should design another mask, Get out of the office, Naruto. As Naruto and Ami were heading to a new training field near the Hyuga estate, Naruto was letting her know he was going to keep wearing the mask. He had ordered her not to tell the others who he was. Ami simply shrugged. I don't see why you care so much about your identity. Ami stated. I mean, sure, no one really likes you, but your reputation precedes you, you know. Naruto shrugged back. No one liked me years ago, now I'm more liked, you know. Ami frowned. Uzumaki Naruto. She then turned to a villager passing them by. Excuse me, do you know Uzumaki Naruto? The villager immediately glared at her and the captain beside her. That kid left this village years ago. Good riddance, if you ask me. She spat and walked away. Ami frowned at first, not understanding the villager's anger, but then turned to Naruto with a smile. See, no one likes you. She confirmed. Still, what was that about? Why did she become so angry? Naruto shrugged. Superficial people. He responded. You'll be surprised who our teammates are gonna be, Ami-chan. He said, switching subjects quickly. Ami simply didn't care as they were slowly walking towards their destination. Excuse me for asking, Captain, but why do you have a new mask? Naruto chuckled. Because I like masks. Both women proclaimed as they pointed at each other. Naruto shook his head and was staring at the other two women, Mitarashi Anko and Hyuga Hanabi. Anko was trying to see if she could recognize him despite the mask, while Hanabi simply had her eyes closed. Naruto turned his attention back to Ino and Ami, who were shooting lightning bolts at each other. Hey, cut it out, you two. He said, a lot of authority in his voice. We have no time for silly things. Mitarashi Anko and Hyuga Hanabi both walked towards their captain. This isn't the Anbu, so what's the mask for? Anko asked. Hanabi opened her eyes. He's been carrying it for over 5 years, she stated. I think he wants his identity to be kept secret. Therefore, I shall not say who you are. Naruto wasn't surprised that Hanabi knew of him. All of the Hyugas knew who he was anyway. Lose the mask already. I don't take orders from someone I don't know the name of. Anko stated while Ino was nodding her agreement. Ami shook her head but grinned a bit at Naruto. Naruto frowned behind his mask. I am the captain, therefore, you shall listen to me and obey the orders I give you. I will not discard my mask. He commented. But you know what, Anko-chan, why not try and get it off? He said as he got into a fighting position. With lightning speed, Anko appeared behind him but was surprised as the world seemed upside down and the captain was nowhere to be found a split second later. Without you even noticing it, Naruto said as he was holding Anko up by her left leg, upside down. Your speed is rather pathetic, Anko-chan. Anko released a few snakes out of her coat but was surprised to see the snakes return to their summoning scrolls. My snakes fear him. Naruto chuckled and threw Anko away. Anko landed on her feet elegantly and glared at her captain. "Who are you?" Naruto shrugged. "My identity is not really important, Anko-chan. But I'll tell you if you can beat me." He baited. "Or for that matter, if you and the entire team can beat me." He challenged. Yamanaka Ino seemed to hesitate but stood her ground and got into a fighting position. Ami simply leaned against a tree while Hanabi sighed. "It's no use fighting you, Captain. The chakra I can see around you lets me know that much. Even if we have perfect teamwork, we don't stand a chance." Naruto seemed to whine behind his mask. "How boring, Hanabi-chan. Surely, it doesn't hurt to try." Anko's glare merely grew in its intensity. "It's no use, you say? We're all Jounins. He shouldn't be able to take on 4 Jounins." She smirked. "I thought you were more confident than your sister, Hyuga Hanabi-san." Hanabi didn't get angry at all, as she merely gazed at the purple-haired woman. "It's not about being confident. I'm just stating the truth. Besides, we're all Riki Jounins except for you." Anko huffed. "Che, like it matters." Naruto was surprised at the amount of chakra Anko was gathering. Hokage-sama was right. This woman is pretty talented. Ami simply sighed as she stared at Anko. "Yes, she's more talented than anyone on our previous team, but she doesn't stand a chance against Uzumaki Taichu." Anko rushed forward at an amazing speed, but her eyes lost sight of Naruto. Where did he go? Anko turned around to see Naruto stand on the spot Anko was standing on seconds ago. A split second later, Naruto was whispering in her ear from behind. "What's wrong, Anko-chan?" With that, Naruto disappeared again. Even when turning around as quickly as she could, this guy was still too fast. Ino was a bit perturbed by the show of speed before her. "Hey Ami. Do you know him or something?" she yelled, not wanting to join the battle anymore. Anko listened in, also wanting to know the answer. Naruto had appeared a few meters in front of her. "What's wrong, Anko-chan? Too scared to move?" Anko grinned. "You're good, aren't you? I've created 4 Jinjutsus around you, but you aren't even affected by a single one of them." Naruto shrugged. "Jinjutsu just won't work on me, I guess." He cracked a grin and motioned for her to continue her attack. Seeing her not moving, he turned to the other girls. "Hey, you 3. I order you now to attack me along with Anko. I want to see your abilities." Ami groaned and decided to answer Ino. "Yeah, I know him. He's one cruel bastard during training. I've been his subordinate for over a year. But we have to attack him before he gets angry," she said, suddenly appearing above Naruto with a sword in her hands. Naruto kicked the sword out of Ami's hands with ease and continued with a roundhouse kick to her back behind Ami, sending her to the ground. Anko's eyes were narrowed. His speed is unreal. Hyuga Hanabi rushed forward, thrusting her palms all around her as Naruto was circling around the young woman. "Your eyes are truly impressive, Hanabi-chan. To think you'd be able to follow me using this speed." Anko decided it was time to get in with Hanabi and dove at Naruto with a kunai in hand. Anko was surprised to find herself at least 100 feet away from Hanabi and Naruto's fight. "What the hell?" Hanabi stopped her palm thrusting and stared at Anko. Naruto was standing behind Anko. "Just to let you know, Anko-chan," he whispered from behind again. Anko was seated on the ground, her mind still in confusion. "I will not hold back. I suggest you do the same." With that, Naruto disappeared and reappeared in the middle of the clearing again. Hanabi was closest to him, but Ino immediately released a jutsu in Naruto. What happened next made even Hanabi's eyes widen. Chakra, unlike anything she has seen before, exploded around Naruto, completely evaporating Ino's mind techniques. "Nice, Ino-chan. Those were some kind of shintanshians, right?" Ino nodded dumbly, perplexed at how easy this guy deflected one of her more powerful techniques. Unlike Shintension, this was a multiple mind attack with a success rate of 100%. She had sent about 6 target-seeking, bullet-sized chakra clouds, which also moved in very high speed towards Naruto. These bullets usually could penetrate even a mountain just to get inside her opponent's mind or minds. Ino gulped nervously. The chakra needed to use this technique was enormous because the success rate was so high, but the chakra needed to deflect it had to be humongous. But this guy was just standing there as if he just swatted away a fly. Ami came rushing in again, this time with Hanabi from behind. Ami, with a sword, slashed at Naruto, who was dodging every slice. From behind, Hanabi was thrusting palms, but found it impossible to hit the abnormally fast captain. Anko performed a few hand seals. Ninputoken, Nai Kaiosha. Naruto kicked Ami away and grabbed Hanabi's palms to throw her towards the still non-moving Ino, who was on guard, and caught Hanabi in midair. He then looked intrigued at the 2 summoned lances in Anko's hands. "Ah, interesting. I assume they are pretty poisonous." Anko nodded with a sadistic grin. "One touch, and you'll die." You should be glad I'm also part medic nin, in case you get hit. Anko's eyes widened as her lances were no longer in her hands, but in Naruto's hands now. Hey. Interesting choice of weapons. Naruto said as he scanned the lances, where poison was literally dripping off the sharp edges. Unable to see the next movement as it seemed like a quick flicker, the lances were on the ground before her. Please, show me how you fight with them. Naruto was challenged as he performed a single hand seal and a black sword appeared in his right hand. Ami chuckled as she gripped her sword tighter. Don't forget about me. She yelled, rushing forward again. Anko rushed forward as well when she saw how Ami appeared right next to Naruto and slashed her sword against his. Anko's eyes narrowed. Both swords use chakra, she thought, as she thrust both her lances to pierce Naruto's body with. Again, Naruto appeared behind Anko, but this time, Anko had another lance ready to attack. Naruto let the lance collide with his own sword to see what would happen. As the sword and lance clashed, he saw poison immediately being launched towards him. Naruto immediately jumped backwards a bit, only to see that Ino also had a sword and had decided to surprise him. It didn't matter, as Naruto blocked Ino's sword with his own sword. He somersaulted over Ino and looked at Hanabi. Everyone has a sword, except you, Hanabi grinned as she performed a few hand seals. Morohano Tsurugi. She yelled as a two-edged sword appeared in her right hand. Naruto shook his head and took a look at Ino's sword. Zantetsuken? He asked, and Ino nodded. Then I assume you are surprised you couldn't cut my blade. Ino nodded again, a little confusion in her eyes. Her sword had the ability to cut through any kind of metal. When she attacked Naruto, she had hoped Naruto would block with his sword. When he did, she had smirked, but she stopped smirking when she saw his sword still intact. I also have a special sword. Naruto explained. Ready for the next round of sword dancing? Or lance, he pointed out as he stared at the grinning Anko. All four of the women rushed towards Naruto. Their meeting had started in the morning, but it lasted till the evening. Naruto was still standing in the center of the clearing. Ami, Ino, and Hanabi were all too exhausted to continue, but Anko was still trying to hit Naruto. The swords and lances were all gone a long time ago, and it had become an all-out ninjutsu battle between the two Jounins. Naruto was having fun, this Anko really was a talented opponent. Naruto jumped back as Anko had sent poison gas towards him. In midair, he performed a few hand seals. The poison cloud was obscuring the view, so Anko couldn't see anything. Naruto grinned as he landed on the ground. Raiten, Kazanrai. As the poison cloud evaporated, Anko saw bolts of lightning surrounding the captain's entire body. Taijutsu? She asked as she prepared herself. Naruto shrugged. A little bit of both, he said as he held out his arm and pointed his palm towards Anko. Catch. Anko's eyes widened as the small lightning bolts increased in their frequency around Naruto's arm. He saw how Naruto clenched his fist and lightning seemed to fight with itself within the fist. Naruto then opened his fist and released a gigantic thunderstorm towards Anko. Anko's despair didn't last long as she got to action and performed a few hand seals. Goshin, Nigamashi Adori. Naruto looked really interested as Anko seemed to dance around every lightning bolt in a mesmerizing way. She's dodging every single bolt. Very talented, indeed this thunderstorm carries at least 1,000 bolts. Naruto had carefully executed the technique, making sure Ino, Ami and Hanabi wouldn't get caught in the storm and also that it wouldn't kill Anko if it did hit her. But he hadn't expected Anko to actually dodge in this manner. As the thunderstorm died down, Naruto grinned at the painting woman in front of him. Care to explain your little dance? Anko chuckled between her panting. It's called the snake dance. Using a lot of chakra around my body, the chakra forces my body to move away from any other chakra presence and it makes it seem like I'm dancing. Yes, it seems it takes a lot of your chakra. Naruto pointed out. He gazed a small moment at the amazed Ino, Ami and Hanabi. This was really a very high-leveled sparring match. You're really something, you know that. Anko said as she leaned on her knees, still panting a bit. She caught a soldier pill thrown by Naruto. Only a few have been able to get me this tired and I tell you, they were all S-rank criminals, Anko pressed on. But the difference between them and you is they were at least a bit exhausted, you on the other hand, you're not even panting a little bit. Anko turned from impressed to suspicious and thanks to the soldier pill she was more energetic again. Hokage-sama said you would be able to wear me down. But I bet that you'd still be able to wear me down even after swallowing a soldier pill. Who are you? Well, I guess you guys deserve to know who I really am, eh? He said as he was about to pull his mask off. Hanabi was curious even though she already knew who was behind the mask. Ami already knew but didn't mind seeing his face again while Ino was staring really curiously. Anko's eyes widened as Naruto removed his mask. Naruto chuckled. In case you guys don't know who I am, the name's Uzumaki Naruto. We're lucky we're no males, you know, Ami said as she was walking next to Ino. They had decided to grab a bite after training. You should see how hard Naruto is on male subordinates. He has this policy not to hit girls. Ami whined. Except if they're really mean, he says. Ino kept silent. After the revelation of Naruto being her captain, she had become a bit quiet, Ami noted. She's probably wondering where Naruto has been all these years. Naruto didn't really have any friends when he was younger, did he? Hey, Ino, Ami started. How was Naruto during the Genin years? Ino started, looking a bit sheepish. I don't really know. Ami frowned. Oh right, you petty girls were all too fixated on that Uchiha guy, weren't you? We weren't petty. She countered. But I guess you're right about fixating too much on him. She added, a bit ashamed. But what do you know, Ino? Ami asked. I mean, I don't remember a lot of the days in the ninja academy, but I do know one thing. Ino looked sideways. What? Naruto definitely looks a lot better than that Uchiha bastard. Ami stated a bit loudly. Ino blushed a bit. Why yeah, I guess he does what I know about Naruto, Ino scratched her chin, as she thought. I know his dream is to become Hokage, but I don't know if it still is. He was really obnoxious, really loud, and quite annoying. Ami nodded. Yes, I can remember his pranks as well. He had left on a training trip that lasted almost 3 years with one of the Sannin, Jiraiya-sama. I know there were a lot of problems with Sasuke-kun's brother or something. I don't really know what happened, only that Naruto had been missing for almost half a year. He returned to the village one day, and since then, no one had ever heard from him again. He had been missing for half a year. Ami let out. Damn, and then he just suddenly returned. She frowned. You don't know any more details. Ino shook her head. Ino stopped herself from saying no one really cared. It's actually so sad. Ino thought as she considered Naruto's situation. I do know he doesn't have many friends. How about almost none? Ami corrected. Well, I'm his friend, I know the Kiba guy is, and well, my old team respects him, as well. What do you know about him? Ino asked as she opened a door to a small restaurant close to her flower shop. Ami shrugged as Ino let her in first. I know he's a good guy. He takes care of the people around him and usually doesn't even let his subordinates fight. He doesn't want any of us to get hurt. But he trains us non-stop, the bastard. I've never seen him tired, actually. Ino chuckled. That's something else I remember. After beating Hyuga Neji in a Chunin exam, he still had a lot of stamina left afterwards. He had always been very energetic. They both sat down at a table in a corner, but at a window. After saying what they wanted to eat, they started talking again. So do you know anything about the other women in our team? Ino shrugged. Anko-san is a lot older, while Hanabi-san is a lot younger. I know Hanabi-san is Hinata-san's little sister, and I know that Mitarashi Anko has been an examiner at least once. Anko has been a subordinate of Orochimaru once, shows what you know, Ino, she said, and Hanabi is a true genius, maybe even able to surpass Hyuga Neji one day, and I, since you're interested, have become good with Taijutsu and Kenjutsu, especially Taijutsu. My Jinjutsu is better than my ninjutsu. Ino nodded. I've become really good with my family's jutsus and Kenjutsu as well. I practice a lot with Tenten with Kenjutsu and Sakura with Taijutsu and Jinjutsu. Oh, Ino suddenly exclaimed. I can't wait to tell Sakura Naruto is my captain. Ami sighed. I don't know if you should. Maybe Naruto doesn't want anyone else to know there's a reason he wears the mask all day, you know, she dryly pointed out. You think he'd mind? Ino pouted as a waitress set down a plate of food on the table. Ah, finally. Earning a second lasting glare from the waitress. Uzumaki Naruto, Anko whispered to herself as she was walking next to her captain. You've been holding a low profile for the past few years, huh? What happened to you? Naruto shrugged. Nothing much. Anko grinned. Uo, a man who doesn't like to talk about himself. Those are very rare to find. Naruto's response was another shrug. What about you, Anko-chan? What have you been doing in the past few years? Anko chuckled. Actually, I've done a few missions with an old friend of yours. He and I shared the same teacher. Uchiha Sasuke, then. Naruto replied. Along with Hada Kakashi, I assume. Correct, Captain. Anko exclaimed sarcastically. Yeah, the two are always together. Makes you wonder, huh? Naruto rolled his eyes behind his mask. So you've done missions with different shinobis throughout the years? Anko nodded. Yup. All of them were boring to work with, of course. Especially that stuck-up Uchiha bastard and the lazy copycat. They're all serious and stuff. But I did hear the young Uchiha say something about you once. Naruto frowned but didn't show any real curiosity. But I can't really remember, Anko faking. I know it was something like what would Naruto do in a situation like this. That was the only time I heard Kakashi chuckle genuinely when Anko let out. It isn't really pleasant. Anko then stopped walking and smiled at Naruto. I'm a home brat. Naruto chuckled in reply. Anko-chan. Please don't say my real name in public, okay? I forgot to mention this to the others so I have to visit them quickly now. He said. Our sparring was fun. But starting tomorrow, training will be a lot more vicious. Ooh, I can't wait, Naruto-kun. She seductively said as she stared him straight in the eyes. Naruto shook his head and sighed. Well, Anko-chan. It was fun seeing you again. Rest well, in 3 days we have our first mission. Until that time, I'm going to make this team work through rough training. Sweet dreams, he said as he suddenly disappeared. Anko snorted. PFFF, no kiss goodnight. She shook her head with a smile and jumped in her apartment. Naruto appeared at the Hyuga estate seconds later and found Hyuga Niji sparring with Hyuga Hinata. Hey, you two. What are you doing up this late? He yelled at them. Niji and Hinata just stared at him as they both had their Byakugans activated. Naruto. What brings you here? Niji said. Hinata nodded, also wanting to know. Naruto-kun. You should visit us more often. Naruto nodded. Yes, it's been a while since I spoke with Hiashi-sama too. He pondered. Anyway, I'm here to see Hanabi-chan. Have you guys seen her? Hinata looked at Niji, who in turn looked at her. Actually, no, but Naruto saw both of them gathering more chakra in their eyes. She's talking to Hiashi-sama. Naruto could see Niji was trying to see what they were talking about. About you. Hinata finished. Wow, you two can read lips too? Naruto asked. It's hard to keep secrets from you, eh? But meh, I'm her Jounin captain. I've just come to deliver a small message. One she probably already knows too. Do not reveal your identity, right? Hinata asked with a timid smile. Naruto nodded with a huge grin on his face. You're right, Hinata-chan. Now, if you guys excuse me. With that, he vanished. He's such a rude guy. Niji said before facing Hinata again. Hinata giggled shortly and slipped into battle stance as well. Come in, Naruto-kun. Hiashi called out. Naruto walked into the huge room Hiashi and Hanabi were seated in. Hiashi-sama. He bowed shortly. It's been a while. Indeed it has. Hiashi greeted with a smile and a small bow as well. Naruto had great friends in the Hyuga clan and had respect for them and for them. You should come by more often. That's what I thought too. He replied with a grin plastered on his face. I've come to leave a message to Hanabi-chan. Only Naruto could pull it off to add the suffix chan to an heir of such an important clan. Ah, of course. I was actually just about to tell her, Naruto-kun. Naruto smiled. Of course he knew about that. Don't reveal his true identity to anyone, Hanabi Hiashi warned. The entire village owes him hundreds of favors, but he only requests his identity to remain unknown. Show him your fullest respect and answer his request. Hanabi bowed to both her father and Naruto. No need to be so formal, Hanabi-chan. Hiashi glanced at Naruto, while Naruto merely chuckled. I mean around me, of course. Ino and Ami were leaving the restaurant when Naruto appeared in front of them. Good evening. He greeted me. Ami and Ino looked at each other before looking back at him. Good evening, Naruto held up his hand to silence her. That's the reason, Naruto interrupted Ino. I don't want you to tell anyone who I really am. Ino pouted. But I want to tell Sakura. She'll like hearing about you. Ami looked amused and wanted to see the expression on Naruto's face, but the mask, as always, was there. I hereby order you to never mention my name in public. Naruto ordered as he stared at Ino. Fine, Captain Ino mumbled. Hey Captain. Ami suddenly asked. Why do you keep your identity a secret anyway? Naruto shrugged. I don't know. With that, he left. Ami sighed and chuckled at the wide-eyed Ino. You'll have to get used to that. Captain has the tendency to leave abruptly just whenever he feels like it. As Ino was trying to sleep, she remembered the days where Naruto was missing. She remembered because Sakura was extremely sad those days. They had been on retrieval missions for months, but they just never succeeded in finding Naruto until one day, he just appeared in the village. Nara Shikamaru had told her that Naruto was back, that he had returned all by himself. But Ino had never seen or spoken to the blonde male. Most figured Naruto had become part of the Anbu or had left the village again. Sakura was extremely sad for some reason. Sasuke had returned about a year ago, and he too had wondered where Naruto was, Ino remembered. It was strange, but it seemed that Naruto's absence saddened him as well. Uzumaki Naruto, the most surprising and cheerful shinobi she knew. Also the shinobi who almost everyone in the village resented, she noted. And now he had become her captain. She couldn't believe how strong he had become. Defeating 4 Jounins isn't a small feat, even if they were just rookie Jounins. Yes, she was sure Naruto could take on Uchiha Sasuke and kick the living shit out of the Uchiha. He had tried to grab something, anything, as he seemed to hover forward in a world where no ground existed. He couldn't see the air, he couldn't see the distance, there was no left, no right. He couldn't even see himself. He had been captured by the Akatsuki, they were unable to knock him unconscious, so the S-rank missing nins had decided to perform the forbidden ritual as he was awake. Never could he have imagined such horror. On the border between life and death, there was nothingness. He saw the 9-tailed fox demon being dragged away by bright red claws. He had watched how the Kyuubi had desperately tried to send all of its remaining chakra towards him, but Naruto witnessed how the majority was carried away with the demon. Strange, how the blonde shinobi felt pity for the Yaokai. He was left alone in the darkness, and though he felt more powerful than ever, he was still alone, where he could see nothing but blackness all around him. After what seemed like days, a weird creature appeared before him, radiating in the darkness with an eerie blue light flowing around it. You are destined to dwell here for eternity. Uzumaki Naruto seemed to freeze just because of the mere presence of this huge creature, with long white hair, dressed in robes with the face of the devil himself. And then he saw 3 figures approach him from underneath this ugly devil, it seemed. So, you're Uzumaki Naruto, the first man said. I feel ashamed to have let a young man like you have a destiny like this. Jinchuriki's life is truly the worst. The second man bowed to Naruto. Our sincerest apologies, Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto knew he had seen these 2 men somewhere before, and his eyes widened as the third man's appearance grew sharper. Uzumaki Naruto-kun. My deepest regrets for having to meet in this manner. The deceased third Hokage spoke. You might have guessed it, but these are the first and the second Hokages. The death god has brought forth judgment for you and us. He spoke as he motioned above him, where the death god seemed to glare at Naruto. We are terribly sorry. Of all the fates a Jinchuriki could have, yours is by far the worst. The first said. I wish I could do something, but in this space between life and death, I am useless. This is where no one is supposed to linger for more than a split second. The choice for life and death is easily made for every being. You, on the other hand, or something else, aren't you? The second commented. You want to die, but you want to live. Other beings want you to die, but want you to live. It's a normal compromise of existence, and it's the reason this place exists. The third said. But it seems you, in your right mind, don't want to live or die, on which the death god has responded. You will become the next death god, most likely you are the second person to have lingered in this space more than necessary. The death god himself was the first. All 3 Hokages bowed in respect. By all means, you should have already died a long time ago for your own sake. Now you will live endlessly in this abyss. In time, you will be its successor. The death god chuckled while the Hokages all fell to their knees to send respect to Uzumaki Naruto. Please forgive us all. And then, the death god's chuckling stopped as a 6th presence surprised all of them. Naruto suddenly could see his own hands, his own legs, his entire self, as someone seemed to reach out to him from behind. Ninjutsu, the death god seemed to murmur, on which it almost seemed like he was impressed. Tensei ninjutsu. Iruka sensei. Naruto exclaimed, and the 3 Hokages seemed to be very shocked as well. Walking the road. Chapter 2. Lost ambition. Uchiha Sasuke was jumping alongside Kakashi, both heading towards the Hokage tower. So do you think the rumors are true? He yelled, being impatient and wanting to reach the Hokage tower faster. What do you think, Kakashi? The genius but lazy copy ninja had his revealed eye narrowed in what seemed like endless curiosity. Rumors spread fast in Konoha, it seems even faster outside of it. The famous Anbu captain, user of what appears to be the same techniques the 4th Hokage had used. He has become a member of a Jounin team, being a Jounin captain. A very weird promotion. He analyzed. This guy is definitely something else. Sasuke had his eyes narrowed as well. From what I have heard, the Akatsuki seem to have had a lot of trouble dealing with Uzumaki Naruto 9's ranked criminals, forced to perform a forbidden jutsu together to be able to defeat a single man. Kakashi nodded. The forbidden jutsu of pulling out the essence of a Bijuu to perform an assembling of Yaokai presence, it seems the Akatsuki had found a way to perform it without losing their own lives. Sasuke seemed to increase his speed as they both jumped over the gates of Konoha. The guards immediately pursued them, seeing that the 2 went too fast to check on. Kakashi followed suit, the guards would be handled later, this was more important. So they're saying that Uzumaki Naruto and this new Jounin captain are the same guy. Sasuke let out. A few years ago, it was a known fact that Naruto had been taken away by the Akatsuki but seemed to have returned unscathed. A team had been sent to retrieve him, consisting of the legendary Jiraiya and Tsunade, Haruno Sakura, Yumi no Iruka, Hada Kakashi, and an Anbu captain. Kakashi knew what had happened on that fateful day. Naruto had seen his very first and most precious friend die right next to him. The two hadn't even been able to say some last words to each other. Tsunade and Sakura were both prepared to perform the revival technique if Naruto had really died against the Akatsuki, but it seems Yumi no Iruka had forced them to teach the jutsu months ago, once he had learned of the horrible possibilities. Iruka was forced to train for a long time. As they had arrived at where the sixth ritual had been performed, also in a cave, they had found a dead Naruto, surrounded by panting Akatsuki members, who immediately fled after seeing two Sannin, Hada Kakashi, an Anbu captain, and Haruno Sakura, and Yumi no Iruka. Kakashi watched how Iruka had performed the Tensei ninjutsu on the lonely corpse on the ground, and watched how Iruka crumbled to the floor minutes later. He also watched how Naruto cried for the longest time for his lost friend beside him. All of them had shed tears that day, first for seeing Naruto dead, then for seeing Iruka dying, and finally, for seeing true friendship crumble. Naruto had changed a very great deal after that day. He had told them off and said he didn't want to return to Leaf on that very day. Jiraiya had decided to take him on another trip, on which Naruto had agreed. Naruto and Jiraiya had stayed away from Leaf for over 6 months. Okay, who the hell spilled the beans? Naruto yelled angrily as his mask was on the ground and he glared at his subordinates. Massive killer intent was freezing all of them at the spot. No one had ever seen Uzumaki Naruto this angry. Mitarashi Anko found herself unable to move as she gazed into the murderous eyes of the Yondaime lookalike. She managed to stutter, and I didn't say a word. It took her almost 20 seconds to finish that small sentence. Yamanaka Ino was simply shaking her head at a very fast rate, too afraid to even speak. Hyuga Hanabi, for one of the few times in her life, was too afraid to respond, as well. This killer intent was unlike any she had ever faced before. She managed to shake her head a few times, but one could surely see nervous sweat forming on her face. Ami was more used to this terror coming from Naruto, but hadn't seen him this angry before either, so she was also quite shaken up at the madman before them. She was shaking her head, as well. Naruto gritted his teeth. It had to be one of you. He screamed. Okay, since you're not telling, you are all forced to hang on a tree branch with your feet with chakra. Be calmed down a bit to allow the killer intent to decrease in its fury, so they would be able to move. Each picks its own tree. He said, holding in his anger. All of the females hung down from different tree branches moments later, too afraid to argue with the angry Naruto. I'm going to throw kunais at you in this state. You're not allowed to land on the ground, not allowed to jump to another tree branch, not allowed to go from tree branch to tree bark, and not allowed to stand on the tree branch. You're only allowed to hang on the tree branch, get it? He had woken up this morning when several Jounin had greeted him with good morning, Uzumaki Naruto-sama. Or good morning, Uzumaki Taichu. Or Naruto Taichu. One day. It had taken him one day, as Jounin captain, to completely shatter his hope of having a secret identity. There would be hell to pay for the perpetrator who revealed his identity. Naruto started with creating 3 solid advanced clones next to him. All of them started throwing kunais and shurikens to the poor females hanging on tree branches. Consider this training for chakra control and stamina. He screamed ruthlessly as the women were dodging kunai after kunai, walking and running only upside down under the tree branches. Iruka-sensei. All the man did was put his hand on his shoulder and give him the warmest smile anyone could give another. All the Hokages before the scene were silent as the space turned from pitch black to bright white. Iruka and Naruto stared at each other, one confused, the other warm. Iruka then took his hand off of Naruto's shoulder and walked towards the Hokages. Naruto's eyes widened as all of them were slowly fading away, including Iruka. Uzumaki Naruto, for once, it appears life and death seem to be fair to you, the first Hokage said. Unfortunately, sacrifices must be made for forbidden techniques such as these, the second explained. Uzumaki Naruto-kun. You deserve this the most. Please honor Yumi no Iruka-sama. The third said, as he put a hand on the shoulder of Iruka, who had joined them. Do not worry, he has not the same fate the Death God has for us. The Death God seemed to vanish, along with the 3 Hokages. Yumi no Iruka remained a little longer, staring at Naruto. The two stared at each other for what seemed like ages until Iruka seemed to fade away into nothing. Your best, Naruto-kun. Naruto had calmed down, as all the women were panting from the exercise Naruto had made them go through. Did any of you mention my name yesterday or today? He asked, as he approached the panting women, anger still very much present in his voice. All of the females shook their heads, and Tolino and Ami looked at each other in worry, which Naruto, of course, noticed. You two have something to say. Well, we did kinda mention your name in a restaurant yesterday once. Ino started. But that was before you told us we weren't allowed to do so. Naruto's eyes widened. You told me my name yesterday in a restaurant. Once. And already the entire village knows about it. He let out in frustration. How is that possible? He complained. Damn, and I can't even yell at them, since they did reveal my identity before I had forbidden them to do so. Word spreads fast, Anko explained, as she grinned at the blonde man. Nothing you can do about it now, Naruto-kun. I guess you're right. He whispered softly. He then suddenly grinned at them, making all of them gape at him. Such a sudden switch from furious to non-caring. It was inevitable, I suppose. So, how was warming up? He asked, earning wide glares from his subordinates. Time for real training. All of them groaned. Sakura was very close to the awakening Naruto, while Tsunade, Jiraiya and Kakashi were towering over him. The Anbu captain with the codename Yamato had to go with him in case his expertise of Jinchurikis and ambiguous was needed. But he also seemed very concerned with the blonde shinobi, as he had his mask off. As Naruto opened his eyes, he didn't even notice Sakura holding him, as he immediately looked at Iruka who was next to him on the ground. Iruka-sensei. He tiredly let out. Everyone watched as Naruto tried to wake Iruka up, to no avail. Iruka-sensei he managed to let out, exhausted as he was shaking Iruka by the shoulder. Iruka-sensei. He repeated about 100 times. Sakura watched in sympathy as the boy didn't even notice that he had slipped out of her grasp to continue shaking his teacher. Naruto. Iruka-sensei. He screamed with tears in his eyes. Kakashi revealed his own mouth as he silently shed a few tears. Yamato had put his mask back on, while Tsunade was being comforted, albeit slightly, by Jiraiya. Sakura hugged Naruto from behind as he couldn't come to any other conclusion but confirming Iruka's death. Why him? Why did it have to be him? He screamed as Sakura tried to soothe him from behind, also weeping. Why him? He whispered in Sakura's arms. He repeated it a dozen times. Okay, training is over. He suddenly announced. They were all sparring against each other. He and Mitarashi Anko against Ino, Hanabi, and Ami. Seeing that Anko was a well-experienced shinobi, he wanted to see how Ami, Ino, and Hanabi would work together. He seemed to glance behind him without turning his head as he spoke up again. There are several shinobis approaching us. I have no need for any reminiscing. We will all report back here tonight. I feel it's time to test our skills in complete darkness. Be here in 6 hours. Dismissed. He muttered loudly before doing a single hand seal and disappearing. Ino let out a sigh. I don't think I've ever been this tired before. She whined. And he wants us to train in the middle of the night too. Get used to it. Captain can really overdo it. Ami grinned, but anyone could see she was tired as well. Anko was the least tired of all of them. He has a lot of sadness hidden within him, Hanabi suddenly informs them. But, as always, he hides it with his smiles. She turned to Ami. I'm usually not one to pry, but what do you know, Ami-san? Ami shrugged and grinned at Ami at the same time. I don't know anything. Captain's not a sharing type. Anko snorted. He will, in due time. He will have to, if I'm on his team. Weirdly enough, the other girls all seemed to agree, and then, 2 Jounins landed in the clearing. Kakashi observed all of them before greeting with a yo. Sasuke wasn't the kind to greet. Where is your captain? It was strange if it was 10 years ago, but Ino was actually glaring at him. Hanabi did quite the same, while Anko and Ami seemed indifferent. He just left. What's it to you? Anko asked back. We were interested if the rumors that have roamed around are true. Kakashi began as he scratched the back of his head. My lost student. Anko snorted, turned, and left the scenery. Ino surprised herself by snorting as well and turning on her heels to leave the 2 Sharingan carriers to themselves. Ami just smirked and disappeared using Anbu technique. Hanabi was the only one left in those 2 seconds and seemed to be amused as she witnessed the weird glances Kakashi and Sasuke gave each other. We don't know who our captain is. Hanabi lied. Ask him or her yourself who he or she is. With that, she departed. No one could ever tell if a Hyuga was lying or not except maybe Marino Ibiki. Well, I guess we'll have to request the Hokage to do a mission with this captain. Kakashi suggested. Maybe then, we can find out. Sasuke was still a bit surprised at the scene a few moments ago and reacted a bit late. That was strange. Kakashi shrugged and put a hand on the other's shoulder. Let's go, Sasuke. Naruto was jumping from roof to roof while using a cloaking technique so no one would see or hear him. Not even an Inyazuka could smell him when he used this. He stopped abruptly when he noticed someone sitting on the pavement in front of his old home. His abandoned home where no one dared to live, dared to enter. The place where the smell of ramen still lingered. Not that that's a bad thing, Naruto thought as he saw who it was who was sitting on the pavement. The rumors have indeed spread magically fast, but to think this woman would be waiting in front of his old home. Too bad I don't live there anymore. Naruto thought sarcastically as he continued his sprint homeward, leaving Haruno Sakura alone on the pavement. Moments later, he arrived home to find Neji and Kiba inside. "What are you two doing here?" Naruto asked as he eyed both of them suspiciously. "And didn't give me that we live here crap either." Kiba chuckled. "But we do still live here, officially, Captain." Neji nodded his head. "Even if I mostly stay at the Hyuga estate, this is still where all my stuff is." "Yeah, and I still like it here, even though I live with Hinata," Kiba explained with a grin. "Hey, so you're old, and your new team, they don't know you actually live here, huh?" Kiba asked. Naruto had found both of them on a couch in the living room, eating some takeout food. He would never understand why they never ate ramen. He dropped himself on another couch and took his mask off. "No one knows I live here, except you two." Naruto lived in a building placed at the south border of Konoha, completely away from everyone else. The only ones living close by were Jiraiya and Shizune. He very rarely appeared in his old home when he made appointments with his old team or new team there. Neji shook his head. "I don't know why you even bother, Naruto. But you've heard, right?" It was strange, but Neji was always like that. Always switching subjects during a sentence where you'd figure he was going to ask something personally. But Neji was mostly business. Naruto even knew what he was getting at, too. "Yeah, my identity is longer labeled a secret," Naruto commented casually. "This means the Akatsuki has probably found out I'm still alive, too." Kiba frowned at the two serious guys. "You two think those guys are all still alive?" Neji shook his head and patted Kiba on the shoulder, a bit hard. "Of course. They have performed a forbidden jutsu to pull out demons, but they haven't shown themselves afterwards. Do you really think they would just finish it by extracting the essences?" Naruto nodded his head. "Yeah. I and Gaara are the only Jinchuriki still alive, but we both don't have our demons anymore. I have no idea what can really stop the Akatsuki now they wield the powers of all the tailed demons." You still have a bit of the Kyuubi in you, right?" Kiba asked. Naruto suddenly frowned at Kiba. "Where's Akamaru?" "Out." The next day, Naruto found all the women early on their training spot. "Is it me, or do you all seem very eager to start training today?" Naruto asked as he approached them. "Hey, Captain, why are you still wearing your mask?" Ino asked as she tried to see through the narrow slits in the mask to see his eyes. Naruto shrugged. "Because I like wearing masks now." Naruto stretched his right arm out to Ino and aimed his right fist at her. He then unclenched it and Ino found herself unable to move. But Ino wasn't the only one who couldn't move. All of his subordinates couldn't move. This is a part of today's exercise, ladies. You find yourself unable to move. Even your lips can't move. Also, I will cause a disruption within your chakra control by doing this. Naruto walked over to each of them and tapped their shoulder once. They felt a tremendous but strange chakra entering their body. "So what do you do in a situation like this?" Of course, there was no reaction. They were like a bunch of statues. Naruto chuckled inwardly as he noticed that they couldn't even show expressions on their faces. But Naruto could guess they would all be a bit angry. Imagine this, then. Although they couldn't widen their eyes, they all hoped they would, as the great Yakai demon Kyuubi was towering above them. Gujinjutsu. They all thought. Naruto smirked. "This is Jinjutsu now, with you unable to use your hands for the cancel technique and me disrupting your chakra control with my own chakra. How would you get out of this?" Naruto stared at each and every one of them, trying to see if any of them could already respond. He was disappointed no one could, but grinned nonetheless. "You know, Hanabi-chan. Neji aced this test in a minute. Can you do the same?" he asked. "Normally, you try to increase your own chakra control within the Jinjutsu by increasing the chakra amount around you. However, I have cancelled that possibility by putting in some of my chakra in your system," Naruto explained. "There's a third possibility besides pouring out extra chakra or doing the cancel out technique." Naruto then grinned. "You all know it, but like this, you can't perform it. Because all of you are caught in this Jinjutsu, so there will be no help from outside. No one outside will be able to pour chakra in your system to help cancel the Jinjutsu." Naruto chuckled evilly. So what to do? It was really quite awkward seeing a man with a mask in a restaurant. "I won't eat." All of the women, except Hanabi, pouted. "Oh, come on, Captain, I bet you're hungry," as Ami grinned wickedly. "I bet you can't wait to let your teeth sink into this," and then a waitress came with a gigantic plate of chicken. Meat. Behind his mask, Naruto's eyes widened. The chicken was shining so magnificently in this light. It also seemed really juicy. Screw it. He took his mask off and started eating. The women all grinned, even Hanabi, when Naruto dove in. "Hey, Uzumaki Taichu. Ino started. How did you become captain, anyway? Naruto was too busy eating. Boy, Naruto. Ino's old nature kicked in. Naruto's old nature kicked in, as well as he looked really dumbfounded at Ino. What? He asked, with a bone sticking out of his mouth. Ino frowned and shook her head. How did you become captain? I mean, last time I saw you, you were. Ami also seemed interested in what Ino was going to say. Everyone else on the table was, actually. You were still genin. Naruto nodded his head. Yeah, that's true. He said, as he swallowed even the bone in, making the women shudder. But I did S-ranked missions together with Uraya, sometimes with Tsunade, but most often with Gaara outside of the village. For special reasons, of course. Hey, we all know about it, don't have to be so quiet about it. Anko leered as she took a bite of her own. Naruto nodded, settling a bit in. Yeah, he was a bit surprised that all of them knew. What does his working together with Gaara have to do with Kyuubi? Oh dear god. Anko simply smirked. Tsunade awoke with her own signature on a piece of paper as someone knocked on the door. Before actually confirming she heard the knocker letting the person in, she took a look at her signature, or what remained of it because of her drool. She took a look at the pile to her left to realize she didn't finish her duty last night. About 70 mission reports had been given to her the other day, and from the 70 she had signed about 5, not counting the one with the drool on it. Yeah, come in already. Tsunade screamed crankily after the fourth knock. Usually, Tsunade would perk up after seeing this particular person walk in, but today was different. She would have to work hard the entire day because she fell asleep. You were sleeping again, Tsunade shishu. Tsunade simply let her glare answer for her. Why are you here, Sakura? She took a look outside to see where the sun was, to see what time it was. You're too early 3 days, and 4 hours too early. She dryly pointed out. Sakura smiled apologetically. True to Tsunade's words, Sakura wasn't supposed to meet up with her teacher for another 3 days. I just came by to confirm certain rumors. You'll have to find out for yourself. Tsunade replied a little too quickly, Sakura noted. Now, if you'd please leave. I've got a lot of reports to sift through. Sakura frowned a bit sadly before turning and leaving Tsunade's office. Troublesome shinobis. Tsunade muttered. Already so old, yet they're still all brats. Walking the road. Chapter 3. Familiar steps. So we have to retrieve a missing Anbu team? Ino asked as they seemed to race with each other, circling around tree trunks in amazing speed. It amazed herself she was able to keep up with them. Naruto was leading the way. Starting today, he had decided to no longer wear a mask. This one has been missing for some time, eh? Anko asked as she was closest to Naruto. Jounin teams were established of very talented shinobis, Anko noted. The leader of such a Jounin team would be Sanin level or close to it. Every shinobi on this team had the capacity to become Anbu captain. Though it seemed strange because Anko would never have considered someone like Ino or Ami to be on this team. Yamanaka Ino's sword was a very dangerous one. The only one who could actually block hers was Naruto's. Ino's sword could cut through metal, iron, or whatever a sword was made of. For some reason, it couldn't cut through Naruto's. But the carrier of this certain sword was also in trouble, and for some reason, Yamanaka Ino was immune to its lethal effects. Ami was a talented taijutsu specialist, but what made her more interesting was the way she sacrificed all of her chakra to add effects to her attacks and her kenjutsu styles. And then there was Hyuga Hanabi. Naruto wasn't sure, but he could almost believe she was on par with Hyuga Niji. The blonde captain wondered what purpose everyone on his team had and why Tsunade appointed all of them for his team. Ice Captain. Anko focused her attention from the next tree branch to Naruto. It is highly important you know of my situation. It's important to all of the team, so listen up. Naruto began. I once had the Yaokai Kyuubi sealed within me, as you have already learned thanks to the vice captain. It is no longer sealed because an organization called Akatsuki extracted it. Part of the Kyuubi's chakra remained within me, however, as the Kyuubi did not want to give it to the Akatsuki. It is fused with my original chakra, which was already a lot. Naruto sighed, tired of talking so much. Thing is, the Akatsuki isn't done yet. I'm pretty sure they're not after me anymore, but the possibility is still present. So be ready to face S-ranked criminals during missions you have with me. They just hunt on you? Ino asked. They used to, before, but not anymore. Naruto explained. S-ranked criminals missing nins. Hanabi mused. That could become complicated. I thought all Hyugas were confident, Hanabi-chan. Naruto chuckled. There's no need to worry. Heh, I won't let my comrades die. That sounds so lame. Anko commented. Anyway, Captain, I'm sure you know that we'll have to take over the mission the Anbu team we're chasing was having. Ah. Naruto nodded. So stupid. I wonder what force can kill off an Anbu team. Ami wondered. If they were killed, that is. Well, let's pick up our pace to find out sooner, eh? Naruto reacted with a grin directed towards his subordinates. Yes, Captain. This is why she liked having high-ranked missions. Why does she like putting her life in danger? The blood that was raining around was what gave her bliss. So bloodthirsty she was. Not bad. Anko chuckled evilly at the puddles of blood and 3 corpses around her. Or rather, about 20 body parts around her. Heh. Naruto took a look at his own work, which would almost make Anko jealous, before he gazed towards the rest of the team. Everyone's okay, right? Yeah. Ami mumbled as she walked up to the blonde. Way too easy. I can't believe the Anbu team fell because of this petty group of shinobi. Who says these are the ones who killed the Anbu? And who says the Anbu team was deposed? Hanabi added as she walked by. I have the answers. Ino cheerfully shared. You see, I have this magnificent skill called telepathy, thanks to my what? You took care of more shinobis than me? Anko pouted as she viewed the 6 unconscious shinobis behind the approaching Ino. Oh hush, you. Ino huffed. No, none of them have any recent memories of encountering any Anbu team. Suddenly, the blonde captain was sure he was being watched by someone close by. Vice Captain. Anko nodded. The rest of the team sprang into action and formed a formation, ready for defense and offense. Naruto chuckled calmly as he gazed into a tree. What brings you here? Zetsu. As the leaves seemed to whistle, the Akatsuki member slowly seemed to step out of a tree before Naruto's team. To confirm certain rumors, Naruto felt a bit unnerved as Zetsu's strange eyes analyzed him. Kyuubi's chakra, indeed. Quite a bold move, coming here alone, Zetsu. Naruto started. You know you cannot defeat me on your own. Oh? Zetsu let out genuine surprise. Such confidence coming from an Uzumaki. Surely, even you can realize I have not come to start a battle yet. The second voice coming from Zetsu came as a surprise to all but Naruto. Really now, Uzumaki-kun, the Akatsuki houses no fools. Naruto snorted. Is that so? I seem to remember a certain fool who tried to stop my Adama Rasengan with his bare hands. Zetsu seemed to shrug, but that couldn't be determined because of his strange posture. Ah, but Tobi was not really an Akatsuki member now, was he? What makes you think I'm going to let you leave here alive, then? Naruto's subordinates fidgeted nervously. This Akatsuki member really had a powerful presence, which made them unsure of what to do. We have some presents for you, Uzumaki-kun. Zetsu's mouth didn't move as he said this. You'll have your hands full because certain shinobis tried to interfere with the torturing methods of a certain Anbu team. Here. Team Naruto had to resist the urge to vomit as Zetsu did just that. Naruto's anger grew as Zetsu's giant mouth released 2 familiar sand shinobis. I suggest you treat your comrades. Zetsu said with a chuckle. They can still be saved. The grass shinobi said as he vanished. Naruto gritted his teeth. You guys take care of Suna shinobis, I have to take care of this guy. He said as he disappeared as well. Ankuro-san and Tamari-san. Ino sadly stated as she checked their pulses. Hanabi approached them and quickly performed a medical ninjutsu. We're close to the sand village. Surely a lot of Suna shinobis are looking for them. Let's bring them back. Why are you so intent on taking us down, Uzumaki Naruto? Zetsu asked after having traveled close to a mile away from where they were before. We have spared your comrades, after all. What you guys have done is unforgivable. He yelled, remembering what the organization Zetsu is a member of did to the Jinchuricus he now called friends. We've come to tell you we're not done with the Jinchuricus yet. Unfortunately, I'm alone now, so I cannot take you with me. Also, in case you have not noticed, this is Shouten no. As he said that, he fell to the ground, revealing to Naruto that it was Baki. Damn it, Naruto whispered as he moved to pick the deceased Baki up. Damn them. Thank you for bringing them here, Leaf Shinobis. All of them bowed their heads in respect, even Anko. No problem, Akatsuki-sama. Who is the captain of this team? Gaara asked as he eyed all of them. He remembered a few faces. His presence hasn't changed one bit. It made most tremble in fear just by staring in his eyes. A question he asked demanded to be answered quickly, otherwise the consequences would be questionable. Uzumaki Naruto. He is not present because he is chasing after an Akatsuki member. Anko explained. Surely, you know of its importance. Gaara's eyes widened. Akatsuki. They're after the sudden disappearance of my siblings. He glared at his own desk. I see. As if on cue to break the coming silence, Naruto appeared in the middle of the Kazukiyage's office. Gaara. I have important news. Gaara, not in the least surprised by the blonde's sudden arrival, nodded his head as he asked all others to leave the office. The Akatsuki was after his siblings. Gaara was a bit perturbed as Naruto took a seat in front of his desk. They have already extracted all of the Yakai essences, they want more. He questioned with confusion in his look. Naruto shrugged. I've encountered Zetsu. Zetsu Gaara mused. It explains how my siblings could so easily disappear. Zetsu is one of the few who could do such a thing. Shout no jutsu was used, though. Naruto added. But you know how powerful Zetsu is. Gaara curiously gazed at Naruto. If shout no jutsu was used, then which body was revealed? Naruto nervously swallowed. Gaara, I'm sorry, it was Baki-san. Gaara's gaze dropped to his desk again. I see, did you leave the body? Naruto shook his head. No, before I got here, I went to the hospital. Gaara nodded. So the Akatsuki is moving again, I'm sure we play a part in their scheme. Naruto confirmed with a nod. Zetsu told me that much. An Anbu team got killed by Zetsu and probably another Akatsuki member in your country, probably to lure you out. Return to Konoha and let Hokage-sama know about this. I shall contact you after I contact the other Jinchurikis. I will visit the Leaf soon. Gaara suggested. And Naruto. Ah. Where did your mask go? Gaara asked with strange curiosity. I had a promotion. I'm now Jounin captain. He let out, though no boasting was involved. Jounin captain? I've never heard of the rank. Gaara's indifference was met with an equal level of indifference coming from Naruto. Neither have I. Thanks for bringing back my siblings. Gaara let out before he released a sigh. Naruto simply nodded and turned away. Tsunade was destructively glaring at Naruto's team as they had suddenly appeared in her office. It resulted in Shizune falling while holding a massive pile of reports. I should have never allowed him to put one of his tags here. Tsunade-sama. At least he shows some respect these days. Tsunade was still glaring, but it was unseen as reports were still flying through her office. We've encountered the Akatsuki, are a member, anyway. Naruto started. Tsunade's eyes had momentarily widened in surprise, but she decided to let Naruto continue. Her anger was washed away instantly. It was Zetsu, the missing min from the grass. Though it was also shout no jutsu. The Akatsuki are on the move again, their targets are the same. Naruto paused to let his hand touch his stomach. Us. Tsunade nodded her head. We do not know how to deal with the Akatsuki, Naruto. Considering the power they have gained ever since the extraction. Naruto nodded his head. The Anbu team we were sent to retrieve was disposed of by Zetsu and possibly other Akatsuki members. We found out the Sand was in search of Kankuro-san and Temari-san. We found them at the same time. Naruto paused before he continued his report. Also, Gaara will come to visit soon. Ah, a visit to the Kazuki is always such a pleasure. Tsunade sarcastically retorted. Naruto, you want to be put back in a team with Kiba and Neji for this? Naruto shook his head as he looked at his quiet team who all stared at him expectantly and questioningly. No, this team is just as good. He grinned at them. Perhaps even better. Leaving the Hokage office, Naruto had to turn his head instantly as he heard Ami speak up. Why did she ask you to put you back in the team with Neji and Kiba? Yeah, it's a good thing you said we were just as good as Anko said. We're probably even better than those two jackasses, as you said. Naruto chuckled. We were a three-man team before I joined the Anbu. Inyazuka Kiba had already become one of the best trackers in Konoha and Hyuga Neji was the best of his clan. Naruto looked at Hanabi. No offense, Hanabi-chan. Hanabi simply didn't respond. And let's just say I was a real powerhouse back then. Truthfully, I was a real danger as well. That's why our three-man team had a captain. Who was he? Ino asked. I'll tell you some other time, Naruto said as he stared ahead of him. Ino, Anko, Ami and Hanabi followed Naruto's gaze as it had fallen upon the laziest Jounin in Konoha. Had a Kakashi. Kakashi had already pocketed the little red book to look more carefully at Naruto, who had grown almost as tall as him. Naruto-san. He bowed his head in respect. The rumors are true, after all. He smiled at the blonde and his team. It's been a while. I have no time to reminisce, Kakashi-san. Naruto let out a smile. But it does feel kinda good to hear you talk like this. Unfortunately, we have some training to do. Ino's eyes widened. What? We just got back from an S-ranked mission. Naruto simply smiled. All the more reason. So we can finish 2 S-ranked missions in one day next time. He let out all too cheerfully. Let's go. Kakashi watched all of them follow Naruto away from him. S-ranked mission, eh? Not even me and Sasuke-kun get those often. He said. Especially now the standards have risen. He smiled as he summoned 2 dogs, gave them instructions, and followed Naruto's team. Oi, Naruto Taichu. We're not really going to train, are we? Ino asked. I'm pretty dead beat after that mission, you know. Naruto chuckled as he winked at Ino. We are going to train. I have a task for you. Try to defeat our pursuer if you can. Kakashi. Anko already knew. You want all of us to beat him down? What's the use? Naruto's eyes seemed to sparkle as he stared at his team over his shoulder. Let's just say I want him to know how strong my team really is. Ino, Anko, and Ami grinned while Hanabi simply shook her head. With the four of us, we can easily beat the copy shinobi. Naruto chuckled again. That's true, but I can already sense two shinobis who have joined in on the pursuit. I'm sure you can handle them as well. Boo. Ami asked while Hanabi activated her Byakugan. Uruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke, accompanied by two summoned dogs. Hanabi explained. Dog summoned by Kakashi, I'm sure. Seems like your old teacher wants a reunion, eh? Anko said with a wicked smile. And you want one, too, only. Naruto interrupted her. Yes. But I want them beaten to a pulp by my splendid team before I make an appearance. What's the use, Taichu? Hanabi asked as she deactivated her Byakugan. Yes, we will win without you against all three of them, but why would we do so? It's our captain's sick sense of humor and pride, I guess. Ami responded. He just wants us to beat his old team and then make us say, as they're beaten on the ground, that we were beaten single-handedly by him. To crush their pride, right? Or mainly Uchiha Sasuke's? Ino asked with a mean light in her eyes. Alright, I'm in. Me too. Anko exclaimed. Always in for a good fight. Blood's allowed, right? As long as you don't kill. Naruto said with a shrug. I shall participate in this as well. I've never fought a Sharingan user before, Hanabi added. It would be a challenge. You know my answer already. Ami said with a nice evil grin. Let's start this training. Here. Naruto said as he threw every member a soldier pill. Have fun. With that, he left them to observe from a distance. Kakashi lazily let out as he landed on a tree branch. A few meters in front of him, in another tree on a tree branch, he saw Anko grinning at him. On the ground Ino was doing the same. To his right he saw Ami, who he wasn't really familiar with, and Hanabi was a few feet above him, in the same tree. Before waiting for me? He asked, but he was surprised as Anko jumped towards him with kunai in hand. Anko. He let out surprise, hoping the small yell would stop her advance. The lazy genius barely had enough time to block Anko's kunai attack with a kunai of his own. He disappeared before he could be hit by Hanabi's gentle fist. Landing on the ground, he threw a kunai at the approaching Ino, who was wielding a sword. He frowned as his kunai was sliced to pieces by said sword. Seeing Ino not slowing down, he jumped backwards and jumped over the attacking Ami, skillfully avoiding a roundhouse kick from the girl. I have no reason to fight the four of you. Kakashi let out, a bit seriously with a confused expression etched over his face. Oh, we insist. Anko chuckled as she rushed forward again, followed by an equally enthusiastic Ami, who was wielding a sword that was surrounded by Chakra. All four, Kakashi wondered as he revealed his Sharingan and dodged both Anko's and Ami's attack while throwing both of them in a few bushes behind them. He didn't have time to catch his breath as Hanabi was going all out using Jounin against him. Fast. With his Sharingan, he concluded he could only dodge since Ino was descending towards him, sword outstretched. They seem really serious, too. Before Ino even came close to Kakashi, she was tackled to the ground by Sakura. Sasuke had appeared behind Kakashi with his hands in his pockets. What's going on, Kakashi? He asked as he saw Hanabi trying to hit Kakashi. Having trouble dealing with a genin. Sasuke's eyes widened as Hanabi suddenly appeared in front of him and decked him to the ground. Fast. Kakashi watched Sasuke jump back up and immediately activate his Sharingan. That was a lucky hit. I had not activated my Sharingan, girl. If you want to fight, you. Kakashi caught Sasuke as he was hit in the back by Anko. Watch your back, brat. Sasuke gritted his teeth as he pushed Kakashi away. You want to fight, then? Gee, you're a real genius, huh? Ami said as she appeared next to Anko. Kakashi felt Sakura appear behind him and watched as Ino and Hanabi stood next to each other, ready to launch themselves at them again. A strange predicament we found ourselves in. Surely, this is Naruto-sen's doing. Kakashi reasoned. There is no reason for this to continue. Naruto? Sakura reacted surprised. He's really back. Sasuke snorted. So where's the dope? Sasuke snarled as he didn't get the response he wanted. 7 shurikens and 6 kunes to the face wasn't something he would want. Anko chuckled as Sasuke moved to dodge. He read Ami's next movements in midair and dodged them with ease, countering with kicks to her stomach. Ami made sure his foot got stuck to her stomach by use of chakra and grabbed Sasuke's leg, throwing him towards Anko, who had finished hand seals. While that was happening, Ino had pulled Sakura to the side and they were having a mediocre taijutsu battle at the moment. Hanabi was having a hard time against the copy nin, finding out Kakashi was having the upper hand. Poison cloud. Anko breathed out a huge cloud of poison toward Sasuke, who immediately held his breath as he fell through it. Anko grinned. Too bad you kept your eyes open, eh? Sasuke bit back a growl as his eyes stung like hell. What to do if your Sharingan is unable to function properly? Anko said as she punched Sasuke in the face while he was too busy rubbing his eyes. Ami, go help Hanabi. I'll fight this Uchiha brat. Anko ordered and smiled as her orders were obeyed. It's nice being vice captain. Amused, she walked toward Sasuke, who was still rubbing his eyes, this time on his knees. Kakashi and Hanabi both jumped away because the ground they were standing on erupted in debris. Courtesy to Sakura. Burino Sakura. Sakura, pulling her fist out of the ground, turned to the girl behind her. And you are? Sakura asked, clenching both her fists, ready to unleash some mayhem. Ami bowed in mock respect. Ami, big forehead girl, I'm sure you remember your biggest bully. Sakura immediately glared. This time, the Yamanaka girl will not save you, since she's my teammate. Sakura chuckled. I don't need her to save me from you. I don't think you realize how much I have grown throughout the years. Ami simply shrugged Sakura's sentences away. Tsunade Sama's strength, right? Well, time to put my absolute defense to the test, then. A few feet away, Sasuke had switched opponents with Kakashi and was now dealing with a very annoying Hanabi, who seemed to be really troublesome at close combat. The copy nin was dealing with both Anko and Ino. Sakura focused chakra in her fists and rushed forward, intent on ramming her fist as hard as possible in Ami's face. Strange chakra suddenly surrounded Ami's face, and Sakura was surprised to see her hit being stopped by it. Also, her fist was struck by Ami's chakra. Surprised. I use your own momentum against you, huge forehead girl. You remember the exercises for tree walking and water walking. Let's just say I work the opposite way. Things get stuck to me. The purple-haired girl chuckled as Sakura tried to hit her with her other fist. In turn, that fist was stuck to Ami's stomach. Taijutsu is pretty much useless against me, alas, my absolute defense. Sakura couldn't retort as Ami calmly pressed a sword against her forehead. So gigantic, I wonder how long it'll take to carve your skull. Ami's eyes widened as she found herself in a Jinjutsu, Sakura's chuckle echoing through this new world she found herself in. Damn, if there's one thing I suck at, it's Jinjutsu. Is that fear I see in your eyes? Sakura asked as she made the world around Ami seem like a world with only clouds. Wait, only clouds. Looking down, Ami realized she was falling down rapidly. Well, shit. The clouds around her were slowly wrapping around her. Observing them more closely, Ami saw lightning bolts around them, and shurikens and kunes were sticking out of them as well. And then, the clouds embraced her. On top of that, the ground was really coming closer at a very fast rate. All pain came at the same time: the lightning strikes, the kunes and shurikens, and the ground. Sakura watched as Ami fell on her back and deactivated the Jinjutsu. Don't assume I can only use Taijutsu, Ami. To the pink-haired girl's surprise, Ami jumped right back up. To the wise girl, never deactivate a Jinjutsu too early. Sakura jumped backwards as Ami gathered chakra around her normal-looking sword. Yes, I do feel the pain of the Jinjutsu, but you didn't make me feel it long enough to really be affected by it. And so, Ami rushed forward with her sword aimed at Sakura's forehead. Sasuke and Hanabi were at a standstill, both being unable to hit the other. Your Byakugan seems more advanced. Hanabi decided to roll her eyes instead of ignoring the comment. It's called Ascension Byakugan. It allows me to see the limits of your body. In other words, I know you prefer to attack with your left hand right now, since you have overused your right one with a high-level jutsu recently. I'm guessing it was the Chidori. Sasuke snorted. I can use the Chidori with both my hands. Don't assume things too easily. Hanabi shrugged. You still use your right hand more often to perform the Chidori. Sasuke simply shook his head. I have never sparred with Hyuga Niji to know about this Ascension Byakugan, but Hyuga Hinata doesn't seem to possess it. Hinata-sama does possess it, but she doesn't want to crush your pride by using it to defeat you. Hanabi said. Now, enough talk, Uchiha-san. Show me the full power of the Sharingan. Kuroikaten, Ryuka no Jutsu. Sasuke yelled, releasing a massive stream of black fire towards Hanabi, who decided to test her ultimate defense against this attack. For Hanabi, the stream of fire was approaching her ever so slowly. Her Senshin Byakugan made her see the world in slow motion. She could see the way in which the black fire attack would envelop her and calculated she had to put extra chakra in her vortex defense, an advanced version of the Katen. Kadu Katen. Sasuke's Sharingan eyes widened as he saw how his own attack wrapped around the gigantic tornado around Hanabi and backfired towards him at rapid speed. Sasuke jumped away to allow his own fire attack to slam into the ground. The result was wisps of black fire shooting all around. Sasuke and Hanabi both were able to dodge them. As Sasuke landed, he glared at a smirking Hanabi. You see now? All of your attacks will prove futile against my defense, both ninjutsu and taijutsu. Your Sharingan will not be able to use a genjutsu against my Byakugan either. I am your worst possible matchup, Uchiha-san. Meanwhile, Kakashi was on equal ground with both Anko and Ino, as both parties had inflicted about the same amount of damage on each other. You have grown quite a lot, Kakashi. Anko complimented. Ino snorted. Can I use my skills now, Vice Captain? Anko took a look at the blonde young woman next to her and smiled wickedly. Sure. Hachiu, Fayu. Ino let out with a strange single-hand seal. Kakashi's eyes widened as he felt the control over his own body slip. What's going on? I've never seen that hand seal. Ino smirked as she seemed to lift Kakashi up with her eyes and threw him into a tree. It takes a crap load of chakra, but it is worth it. The Uchiha and the Hyuga are not the only ones with taijutsu in the village. Out of the shattered wood, Kakashi picked himself up but was again lifted up by Ino's telekinetic skill. This skill allows me to levitate things around me. Unfortunately, the amount of weight my eyes can carry depends on how well practiced I am in it. In other words, the more often I do it, the more I can lift. Right now, lifting you up twice seems to be my limit. Ino finished as she threw Kakashi hard against the ground. Kakashi jumped up again to see Ino panting slightly. But, Kakashi-san. She tiredly let out. That's not the only thing I can do. Kakashi's eyes widened as he found his own hand tightening around a kunai aimed at his own neck. Enough. Kakashi's arm dropped to his side, letting him know he had control over his own body again. Sakura, who was on equal grounds with Ami, stopped her skirmish to look at the new arrival, while Sasuke did the same thing. You've all grown. I'm surprised by this. Naruto let out as he grinned at his former teammates and sensei. But my team can beat you all without me. Sasuke glared at the blonde shinobi before him. Uzumaki Naruto. Sakura's mouth had fallen open as she stared at the exact replica of the fourth Hokage no Naruto. In the flesh. Naruto replied as his team appeared by his side while Team Kakashi also moved together. Hada Kakashi, Haruno Sakura and Uchiha Sasuke. On the opposite side, Uzumaki Naruto, Yamanaka Ino, Mitarashi Anko, Hyuga Hanabi and Ami stared at them with pity in their eyes. You guys don't even realize my team held back significantly against you, Naruto let out with a chuckle. Do realize that I have single-handedly defeated my team. There was silence until Naruto spoke up again. Now, what was it you wanted? Thanks for watching my video and make sure to check out the author of this fanfic, link is in the description, see you next time, till then sayonara.